Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Manish Porwal. I'm the co-convener of this webinar along with Dr. Anurag Batra, the editor-in-chief of the Business World Group. Welcome to Business World Marketing and Alchemist presents COVID-19 CELEBIZ the Aftermath in association with Exchange for Media and Entourage. It's a webinar to discuss the changing dynamics of the celebrity and brand association business. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know of Business World as a premier publication in understanding the business of India and abroad. What you may not know is Alchemist is a 360-degree marketing solutions firm that believes in providing through-the-line solutions to brands. Unlike a typical advertising or media agency, our offering are usually solution-based and media-neutral, thus giving us a strategic edge over others. We offer services across marketing spectrum on digital marketing solutions, communication, creative services, IPs, events, activations, celebrity associations, you name it, got it. We are probably the last standing integrated marketing solutions company in this country, which still belongs to the country. We've done some noteworthy work for brands like Coke, Max Life, Castrol, L'Oreal, OB Group, DLF, HDFC Capital, Nokia, Samsung, American Express, but I think a lot of joy that we have comes from the fact that we create businesses along with brands for a lot of homegrown Indian businesses. Moving on to the topic at hand quickly, COVID-19, a harmless sounding term and unknown to most of us before it took us by a storm, has created a huge disruption in our lives. No amount of any other discussion can take away the deep plight it has caused the human race, and mostly to the unfortunate. We do recognize and don't wish to trivialize or bring down the impact of it as it has had on lives and health of scores of people globally. However, that said and talked by everyone and each news channel, and has been a source for many, many weeks now. We are now here to discuss the impact of it on the economies of our own industry in our own country. So let's begin, and let me introduce my fellow panelists. I'm extremely glad to have at the top of the list, Mr. Boman Irani. Besides being a renowned actor, Boman is a voice artist and a photographer in the past. He's also been the co-founder of Irani Movietone. He's been honored with numerous awards from institutions like Filmfare, Zee Cinema, Star Screen, Stardust, IFA, you name it, he's got it. His only retirement plan, I believe, is not to retire. He took up acting as a career at the age after 40 to start his own production house last year at the age of 59. This man is a true example of accepting and leading change. Welcome, Boman. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Ms. Taapsee Pannu, a renowned actor with her popularity spreading across three biggest film industries in the country, Hindi, Telugu, and Tamil. Taapsee also co-owns a wedding startup and a badminton franchise at the Premier Badminton League. Amazing for her age. A well-trained classical dancer and actor par excellence, she has only wowed us with her performances. She's not only wowed us with the performances on screen, but she's also an adventurous by nature. She loves riding bikes and does her own stunts in the films. Ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome Ms. Taapsee Pannu.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. That was quite an introduction. Thanks.
You didn't need one, but well, for us.
Thanks.
Sundar Raman, if I may call a very good friend, a batchmate from my MBA days, one of the best known names in the Indian sports business. Sundar has had key roles in BCCI and IPL. He spent a decade in strategic media thinking business, working for brands such as Unilever, PepsiCo, Motorola, Samsung, Amex, and many more. In the past, from being the CEO of Reliance Industries Sports to being an ex-director of Reliance Foundation Youth Sports, he aimed at building a sustained grassroots sports ecosystem in India. And he would do a lot of representation of the sports part in this panel.
Hello.
Welcome, Sundar.
Good to be here.
Mr. Satayaki Ghosh, an ex and a current client. Satayaki Ghosh works for... Sorry. Okay. With Aditya Birla Group as a CEO for domestic textiles and Thai acrylic fiber business. He had previously been working as a general manager and director of the consumer products division at L'Oreal and then in the company's Paris headquarters. His 23-year-old long career has seen him involved with General Electric, PepsiCo, Spencer's Retail, etc., etc., etc. His experience in advertising, sales, and marketing and general management has made him acknowledged a leader in the industry. Welcome, Satayaki, to the panel. Mr. Pankaj Sharma, An FMCG marketing enthusiast with 16 plus years in both brand and sales. I think Pankaj is the youngest one out here, and I'm glad that he has accepted to be amongst us. He has a rich experience in brand strategy, product development, brand communication in local and global markets. He heads and leads the consumer division at L'Oreal today, and has a host of celebrities, definitely more than 10, for his entire brand portfolio, and is absolutely rightly here in the panel. Welcome, Pankaj.
Thank you.
Mr. Swarnim Bharadwaj, extremely glad to have him here, ladies and gentlemen. Swarnim is the global brand director at Unilever, based in Singapore. His current responsibility definitely looks into Lux, the filmy sitaro ka saundarya sabun, as we would say here. He has a wealth of experience in FMCG sales and marketing, including over a decade in Hindustan Unilever in roles across brand management, innovation, strategy.
Thanks for the introduction. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. An avid traveler, I know that you can catch him on a vacation in a new country almost every long weekend, so I wonder how he's been spending these weekends.
It's been very tough.
I'm sure it is. Mr. Brian Tellis, the last one of the speaking panel. Brian is, most of you know him, I'm sure. He's interacted with you in some way or the other. Brian has enjoyed a long and a fruitful career in entertainment. Across almost 3 decades, he's donned various avatars: a show host, a performer, voiceover specialist, radio jockey, jury, event business, honcho, consultants, blah, 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 blah. He has earned commendable equity in anchoring, radio, theatre, and music, ladies and gentlemen. Before venturing in the world of entertainment, Brian spent over a decade in the travel industry. In 1995, Brian co-founded Fountainhead, which he today leads. That completes my speaking panel, so you can give them all a round of applause sitting at your home. I know we may or may not hear it, but I know that this is one of the most powerful panels that we could have got for this particular one. Last but not the least, let me now introduce somebody I'm really, really proud to have here. My co-convener for today's webinar is a very dear friend, a mentor, and most of you know him as the chairman and editor-in-chief of Business World and Exchange for Media Groups. Please welcome Dr. Anurag Batra. Anurag is a serial entrepreneur, a media mogul, a journalist, an eternal optimist rolled into him, and in my mind, a celebrity in his own right. Anurag, over to you to take this webinar forward along with me, please. Anurag.
Thank you, Manish, for the kind introduction. And it is really a stellar panel. We have 4 top brand leaders. We have a sports specialist. We have Brian, who understands the entertainment domain and it connects with brands. And we have 2 top actors and endorsers of brand in Boman and Taapsee. So my first, we start with Boman, and Boman, if you could give us your introductory comments. And I would like to give you a perspective on 2 things. One, today, if you look at TV advertising, which is where most celebrities come in, 12% of what is spent on TV and about 45,000 crores is spent on TV is spent on celebrities. So will that grow? Will that come down? Second is, celebrities are not being seen enough physically. There are no shoots happening, no new movies being released, no events happening, no appearances happening. So with these 2 opening remarks, I would like to request Boman to come in and give his opening comments and lead the discussion. Mr. Irani?
Anurag, Boman is great. Boman is fine. It'll be nicer.
Thank you. A little old-fashioned. So.
Because Manish went and said, he started at the age of 40, so it made me feel older. Then he said he's starting, he's not retiring. He's ready to retire, but why is he not retiring? He's
Did I say that?
So then you call me Mr. Irani, and then you're ruining my whole life's ambition to remain a child forever. So we'll keep it to Boman. Okay. Having said that, I just like to say that something strange happened. Something strange has been happening. I'm at home, as we all know. We all are, all day, all week, all month or 2. But my wife sees very little of me, strangely. And that is because I'm stuck in front of this wonderful device, and I'm doing webinars, and I'm doing events, appearances, teaching. I'm busier than I was probably. But something strange happened about a week or 2 ago. Brands asked me to just do a kind of a selfie, talk to camera, and send it to us, and then they put some music to it, and they've been peddling those. Now I'm supposed to shoot an ad film. So I said, okay, so when are we shooting the ad film? So they said, day after tomorrow. I said, how are we planning to do this? They're saying, we're planning to do this because you're going to make it yourself. I said, so what are you saying? Is it going to be a camera, I place a camera and talk to camera? They said, no. It's a very, very creative piece of advertising, filmmaking. I said, great. Now the problem is, how do we go ahead and shoot this? They're saying, we'll send you a gimbal and we'll send you a tripod. I said, great, don't worry, we'll do it. We'll have a director. I said, we must keep the director on a Zoom call to tell me what to do. It's not that I'm going to shoot it and say, ye mahol mein jitna kar sakta hai, maine kiya hai, ab le lo jo karna hai, karo. That's not what it's going to be. So I feel for quite some time, celebrities will be shooting their own, they'll be directing their own ad films, something that they thought they were doing all along in their careers to begin with. But having said that, it's a start, it's a change, and we have to adapt to change. Throughout my life, I've been adapting to change. I was a waiter at 19, I was a shopkeeper at 22, a photographer at 30, an actor at 44, and now I'll be the first debut director when I'm a grandfather post 60. So I'm pretty geared up. I'm always ready to step out. That's why I dressed up for this occasion, because of the wonderful panelists that we have over here. And they shoved me right in front first, up front and center. So first of all, salam to all of you wonderful panelists. It's great to have this discussion.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but your tie and your dress up, I think you deserve the first chance. I sound make you lead it.
It's just a statement, Taapsee. I just feel I don't want to be locked up at home. I feel if I was on stage with you guys, I would come dressed like this. So stick to the occasion. It gives me a sense of occasion. But having said that, Taapsee, I genuinely feel I have two issues. I don't think that this is going to go on forever. I hate the word new normal. I just hate it. We adapt, yes. But I don't want to adapt to be sitting here and shooting my own ad films and doing webinars over here. I like, personal interaction, and that will happen. And this is not the optimist in me. It is someone who's saying that we've been through so many of these before. We will find a solution for this. So I refuse to accept that this is the new normal. But till such time, this is what we're going to do. My other, if I have a minute, 40 seconds left, if I have another shikayat, if I may, is that we've not had great creativity in advertising in many years. And I think this will be a situation where you're sitting with a phone in your face and doing an advertising campaign. Will the creativity deteriorate even further? I refuse to allow that to happen. I think this is the time where creative people should write even more creative stuff, considering that we are so restrained and constrained, if you know what I'm saying. I think we got to push the buck when it comes to creativity. Advertising has become more about endorsements. I hate to say that. Maaf kijiyega sabko, aap sabko. It's about endorsements, and I'm one of the culprits. What happened to the great advertising that we had a few years ago? I think of the times of Shubir and Nomita and Prasoon Pandey's direction and the creativity that took place then. I think we've lost that. Maybe it's a time that when we open up, let there be a renaissance of advertising. I'm sorry, apologies to anyone who felt offended by what I said, but this is what I feel. Thank you very much. I think my 3 minutes are up.
Thank you, Boman, on that optimistic note of saying that, one, you don't believe that this is the new normal. We will get back to the normal that we had before COVID. And second, we in the advertising, marketing, media domain always felt that sometimes celebrity endorsements were a shortcut to getting to consumers. They lack creativity. You're saying this is the time for reinventing celebrity advertising.
I think celebrity advertising should be creative. I'm not saying throw our celebrities out of the...
No, of course. Nor am I suggesting that. But I'm saying to bring more creativity to, this is, as you said, this is possibly the renaissance of celebrity and creative advertising merging. So on that optimistic note, let me bring in Taapsee Pannu. Taapsee, you heard Boman say what he said, and Boman has had the experience of more number of years.
What's going on, man? You're making me sound like an old fuddy duddy.
No, that's not.
Reminding me every 10 seconds.
No, Brian knows me well. I tell myself every day that I'm a hairless, toothless infant. So you can tell yourself something like that. I mean, you can't be hairless and toothless, but whatever else you can do. But coming back to Taapsee, in the last 40, 45 days, the brands that you work with, the businesses that you are involved with, how have they approached your being a celebrity endorser of their brands and some of the conversations that you were having before COVID? Take us through that.
I actually resonate a few thoughts with Boman sir, because yes, I've been asked to use my own phone camera or a camera to record and make certain videos and patch it up together. It'll be edited by someone else somewhere, and then I'll have to put it out. And that really makes me nervous because I never thought I could do anything else apart from just being an actor in front of the camera. I never imagined myself to be the one handling the camera. I don't think I ever envisioned that for myself. So that was somewhere things have started getting pushed even for me. I mean, you can look at it in a good way. Maybe I'll start learning something new about it. So definitely there'll be innovation, I feel. Not just in the brands or the association or the way the celebrities are going to present themselves, or the kind of creative ads that, as Boman sir mentioned, there'll be innovations of all kinds at all levels, I feel, of different involving all of us together. There'll be either extreme aggressive kind of marketing happening, or extremely hesitant kind of happening. There probably, I feel, there won't be a midway. I think where celebrity is concerned, especially, it will be needed. You cannot really think of totally like just cutting out of budget of taking off a celebrity, because there's a certain market who's already familiar with the celebrity, and that, yes, is a easier vehicle to just go cut across the masses. But yes, there'll be a certain different kind of creatives involved. How you're going to present a certain brand or a product or through the celebrity, but how you're going to do it. There always been a weird concern that I always had whenever I saw a creative for an ad. For example, I used to say, you've taken me as an ambassador for a certain reason, for the kind of films I do, for the kind of image people have of mine in mind, and then you want me to present this ad in the most generic way. People don't know me for generic films or generic roles, or those conventional molds. But here you are asking me to just conventionally sell a certain brand. I'm like, why not use the fact that that's what connects to the audience, that it's not conventional and it's not generic. So I guess that's where that whole creative shift and change in the kind of approach towards the audience from the brands is being talked about, is going to come in play. Also, yes, as everybody can see, the digital world is going to take over more than ever after this. There are already so many ways and means of using the digital world that we have been introduced to in these last 40-45 odd days. It's time now. I always felt that success is about using the current resources you have in hand and making the best use of it. So I think that this is the time that we know these are our constraints, and that's when, even if people start moving out, lockdown opens up, people are moving around. It's not like they're going to spend a lot of time moving around. It's still going to be the digital world that's going to grab their attention more than any other world, because television also will take little time to produce the fresh content. It's going to take some time before the shooting begins. So I don't know how much of television is going to keep people glued for the ads. Print as well. I don't know how much time will it take for people to just circulate, get into the print newspaper world back into their house. It's going to take a little while. So I guess the digital world is going to be taking over more than any time else. And smaller short-term campaigns is what I feel as a celebrity. People would want to, shoot something yourself and put it out there, like in your own house. That probably the theory of relatability will come into play even more, because you feel more
authentic.
They
can relate to you. Taapsee is one of us.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what has been the biggest selling point. And just to finish up what I want to say, I totally agree to the fact that I don't want to believe that this is going to be a normal forever. We are talking about a race who went through that Spanish flu, And yes, it might have taken a longer time to come back, or it would have taken, because the technology was not that advanced back then. But here we are, after so many years, after 100 odd years, going through something similar. We will bounce back. I mean, it's not going to stay forever. We're talking about people a generation older to us who's seen probably a World War II, where we thought that the world is
Not me, I
just
didn't see
going
World
to
War
change.
II, just to remind you.
So, Boman, are you saying you never had a fight with your wife?
That's worse than World War II.
I'm just kidding.
Sorry,
So,
I had
Taapsee,
to make that joke.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for your opening comment. And, Taapsee, what I hear from you, you are saying, like Boman, that this is not the new normal. You're hoping. Second, you said a beautiful thing that, creativity and achievement is about using the resources that you have and making the best use. And I would like to come back to you at some stage and ask you if digital is an opportunity or it is a problem, because there are digital influencers who are not actors, actresses, but they have a kind of they have a headway here because they've always been digital, purely digital or mostly digital. So I'll come back and talk to you.
Anurag, actually, Taapsee has opened up a lot of new thoughts, no doubt.
Yes.
But I think we'll go to the opening bell quickly, and then we'll come back and ask her to elaborate on that.
So I'll start with Pankaj. Pankaj, L'Oreal has lots of brands that use celebrities. Tell us your views. You are a practitioner. You know the real nuances of what we are discussing. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, hello everyone. I hope everyone is safe and sound. And I hear Boman and I hear Taapsee, and where I agree with them that yes, this is not going to last for long. But what it will change, it might change few habits. It might have some kind of implication the way consumers are consuming the media and the consumers the way they are shopping. What we believe that yes, COVID-19 crisis is having a huge impact on the businesses, and one of the key tasks post COVID will be to build back demand. Today the focus is not on essentials, but we know that essentials just make 30% of the household expenditure. So unless the non-essential categories start going, the economy will not rise back. And to that point, at L'Oreal, what we are thinking and planning is how to stimulate demand. How do we stimulate demand back into our businesses? And when you have that perspective, when you look at two things in India, the first is, what makes India going? Definitely a Bollywood blockbuster or a big cricket match. So that means in the coming time, the celebrity or these role models will play a larger role. As Boman saying, yes, the creative takeout, the creative rendition might see a disruption, and we have to create many new ways to make creative happens to go to the consumers. But building demand will stay at the core. The entertainment, obviously, people will be more hungry for entertainment because they will be staying at home, and the movie theaters will not be open. The crowd will be less. So yes, the entertainment sought by the consumers will go up, and this will give rise to more celebrities, more spokesperson. That will happen. And I feel the clutter on digital, the clutter on OTT platform will rise. And we always used a celebrity or a spokesperson who can connect with the brand to cut through this clutter and increase brand saliency. So so in the new age or in the new time, the short term, I think the relevancy of using a spokesperson will still be higher. No wonder when we see even the messages on the safety today, it are the celebrities and the spokesperson which government has boarded to spread this message to the mass, to the mass consumers. And I think for the brands who needs reach, we would need the same power of two brands, the product brand and the celebrity brand coming together, working more in harmony than before, defining new rules to engage. But I think that will be the key to cut through the clutter and get your message across and stand and create some meaningful and relevance among the consumer's mind. So the context will change. The old insights may not resonate, Hence, there's a need to adapt the advertising platform to the new consumer mindset and context. And we are looking ways how to create this synergy and platform to achieve the brand goals.
Thank you, Pankaj, for making it so real. And Boman and Taapsee, Pankaj is saying that you don't need to worry. Celebrities will be needed even more. The way celebrities engage with brands and with consumers may change a little bit. There may be some new rules, at least in the short term. And as you said, the focus is on bringing back the demand and focusing on how the consumer behavior is changed and aligning communication goals to that. I'll come back to you on the role of media in this. At this point, I'd like to bring in Satayaki. Satayaki, you were at L'Oreal. You had a stellar career in top brands. You've been in leadership roles, and you've used celebrities, and you continue to use celebrities in your current role. Give us your opening remarks.
Thank you, Anurag. Yeah. Don't call me Mr. Ghosh. Makes me feel really old. So thank you to the speakers before me. Thank you, Manish. Good morning to everybody. Hope everybody is safe and sound. I heard Boman and Taapsee, and I also heard my dear ex-colleague Pankaj. Just to tell you that, I have been associated with brands like PepsiCo, General Electric, and L'Oreal in the past. And I've also worked in retail with Spencer's. So I've had a retail and a very B2C career, but right now I work for Textiles business of Birla, and I head that business, which is a non-FMCG business. So in this, I'll try to give you the non-FMCG perspective, because there are enough FMCG people in this panel, and I don't need to get into their shoes actually when I've changed shoes. I think celebrity endorsement has been a way of brand building. Pankaj talked about it, and it helps them cut through clutter. And we've done that. For example, I've done it personally in Pepsi and L'Oreal for a long time. But the philosophy of the brand ambassador and the brand needs to match, and what you want to say in that creative rendition has to resonate. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It sometimes looks like a force fit. In India, Pankaj also touched upon this, but I really want to harp upon it. There are only two types of celebrities that cut across the country, which is cricket and which is Bollywood. Okay, these two, I think, will remain. But there are a new set of celebrities now with TV stars, OTT platform stars, theater stars, online people, designers, bloggers, etc. And other sports are rising. Like Taapsee has a badminton team, the badminton, tennis, football, I think, are relevant sports in India today. Kabaddi is a relevant sport in India today. And all these kind of celebrities are also available for work with the brands. I think if I give you the context today, and when I'm thinking non-FMCG, I have to think that, the overall monies that the companies have to spend on discretionary spends are going to go down. It's just like a consumer. It's going to go down. And brand building will still happen in FMCG companies, in phone companies, e-commerce companies, where Pankaj talked about, and I agree with him that, the problem is going to be demand side. When the factories start up, when the supply chain starts up, supply will happen. How do you create demand side? How do you overcome the demand side problem is going to be an issue. And I think first people, like Pankaj said, will come back from essentials to non-essentials. I think FMCG will move first, and they have to create demand because they'll have to fight with each other for getting into the consumer's mind space within a limited spending capacity post-COVID. However, there will be another set of companies which I represent now, which is manufacturing-led smaller brands, Linen Club, smaller brand, some B2B brands, some B2C brands. Here, there will be other things that are important. And a lot of companies are going to preserve cash and not burn cash to look after, number one, what is going to be the number one problem of a company? From a CEO's perspective, I'm telling you, it's going to be cash flow. You forget about everything. It's going to be cash flow, number one. And number two, it's going to be about people. So you have to protect your company and you have to protect your people. If you give this priority number one and priority number two, then marketing and brand endorsement and celebrity and advertising will come later. So in other industries other than FMCG, phone, etc., there'll be a sharp cut, is my belief. And people like me will take it as a pause year. I will think that everything else, if fourth quarter goes well, which is Indian fourth quarter, January to March of next year, then I start all my investments from April. So I prepare myself from January to March. I pause till December because I don't know when this will open, etc. So that is a possibility that one should keep in mind in a non-FMCG situation. Having said that, there is a very, very good case for celebrity endorsement in tough times of building brands. We've seen Pepsi do it. I was in Pepsi when the pesticide problem happened. We did it. Coke was alongside us. They did it. Coke had big celebrities at that point in time. They signed. Cadbury did it after the problem that they had. And Maggie did it after the problem they had, Nestle had. So in a downtime, investing ahead of the curve, taking big celebrities, using celebrity power, there's a very good case for that. However, there'll be industries and there'll be industries. Finally, I think megastars still cut across whether Bollywood releases films or not. I also think alternate stars will have a very big role to play because alternate brands like us will go on alternate brands because we are not Lux and we are not L'Oreal anymore. So we will go for alternate brand ambassadors. And I think pricing will play a point. And I'm not aiming at Boman or Taapsee. And I know Taapsee is on Garnier now, which is my brand at some point in time. But I think there has to be a win-win between brand and the brand ambassador. And we all need to adjust to the new COVID life because discretionary income will be lower both for companies and consumers. That's my point of view. Thanks.
Thank you, Satayaki, for being so authentic and being realistic and taking us through a 360-degree view of what could happen. And you're right, in tough times, an overinvestment in the brand and credible faces like celebrities can get you that extra upside. So thank you for bringing the perspective that even on the investment side, the numbers will have to be relooked. At this point, let me bring Mr. Bharadwaj in. Swarnim, you work with a very large FMCG company and a very big brand, which has been using celebrities for the last 50 years that I've been seeing it. So tell us a little bit about that. Swarnim,
thank you. Thank you, Anurag. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about, a lot of people have talked about how the future will be and what is going to happen. Maybe I can focus a little bit on the near term and the how of it. One of the big questions that's been around right now for most brands and companies is, should we say something or should we stay quiet in this? They're afraid of saying the wrong thing during COVID, right? And I'm firmly on the side of saying something because just as brands, celebrities are also voices of authority. People believe them, people trust them. And this is a time when people need these voices of authority to help them, tell them, relieve them. But as also Boman and Taapsee have pointed out, can we keep saying the same things that we've been saying forever? No, because whether you're a soap company or a car company or a mobile phone company, you have to address the problem of COVID and say something which is relevant in this current situation. You can't be talking about, hey, my cream is going to make you look amazing without the context of COVID right now. So the amount of authenticity that is needed at this current time is a lot more than ever before. And all brands and celebrities have to look at that aspect. So what are people feeling right now? Some of the dominant emotions are fear. People are afraid. They are confused. They don't know what to do. Is this the right cure? Is that the right cure? Should we do this? Should we go here? Should we wear a mask? Should we not wear a mask? There is depression and stress by being locked down at home. And these are the emotional problems that people are facing, and many brands can help to address these issues. Let me take a few examples. Brands and celebrities should try and help. The obvious way is many brands have been donating. Brands have been donating soaps and sanitizers and money, etc. And it's vital to communicate that because it generates a good feeling towards the brand. And it is a real thing. But that may be a very high level kind of help. Help could range from a range of things. Yesterday, I saw a lovely piece of communication from Pankaj's company, which is L'Oreal, which has their star Eva Longoria, who's a big Hollywood star. And the ad was simply Eva at home shooting herself on her camera phone, applying hair color, saying, hey, I've got so many grays because I've locked down at home. I've never not been without makeup artists, but right now I am. And here's a tutorial of me doing my own hair color. And it was lovely because it was so authentic and it was so right for the times. And I know Taapsee works for Garnier, so who knows? We might see an Indian version of that. Then there is the issue of clarity. People are really confused.
I am ready to get my hair colored again. Please send across some crazy. I'm ready for it.
There you go, Pankaj.
Thanks, Taapsee.
There's the big issue of clarity, because especially in a country like ours, there's so many rumors, there are so many myths that's going around, and someone needs to bust that, because people want the real thing right now. So whether it is the level of alcohol in your sanitizer, can you wash your hands with vodka? All these questions keep going around, these WhatsApp forwards, and people need to hear from a voice of authority what to do. I'll quote a Lifebuoy ad which had Kajol in it, and she said, look, right now you can wash your hands with Lifebuoy, and named and said you can wash your hands with any other soap, whether it is a Dettol or a Godrej or a Lux, even competitors' soap. And that kind of message, which is providing clarity, is really appreciated at these times, because people know what the truth is, and you're not doing what you used to do before, which is simple competition. And then I think there is a huge need for positivity, which is not a solution, but just positive emotions, and brands can play a big role in that. I saw a film which was put out by the Bollywood film fraternity, which had Mr. Bachchan, Ranbir Kapoor, and many other stars from Malayalam and Tamil cinema. And the film was entirely shot in their households and put together, but as a message for staying in. And the message was, if we can make this film sitting in our own houses, you can sit on your sofa and rest in your houses and not go out. So stars are best known for their entertainment potential. And this is a time when people need humor, they need positivity, and they need entertainment. And people can do that. We've seen around the world big musicians, big DJs putting on concerts for free from their living rooms. And hundreds of thousands are tuning in for that kind of stuff. I saw a post by Salman Khan where he said, if Maine Pyar Kiya was made today, how would it change in the context of COVID? And he had done it before and after. It was quite funny. It was just humor. It is not a donation, which he's anyway doing, but people really appreciate that, because right now we're all starved and we're looking at our screens. And finally, I think there's the message of appreciation, because there are these frontliners that are doing a fantastic job, whether it's the doctors, the nurses, the cops. And a lot of brands are expressing thanks to them. Well, it's the right thing to do, but it's also a smart thing to do from a brand point of view, because people share these videos, people love to consume this content. Yes, it is not talking about how the soap is making your skin soft, but if we are the soap of the stars being Lux, these are our new stars who are the frontliners. So I think there is a lot of scope in terms of the creativity that we spoke about to make a message which is valid for the times of today. And that is the only message in town in the short run. That is the only game in town. And both brands and celebrities have to realize that is what people want. That is what people will appreciate. And it is not the time to sit back quietly. It is the time to speak out, but with authenticity in the right context of the times.
I think, Swarnim, you answered a lot of what we were anyway supposed to answer.
Yes, we prepared questions, but that's good. Swarnim, very good. On that note of positivity, brands should be purpose-led at this point and bring hope and cheer, because, I would have asked this at the end of the panel that, give us a story that creates hope, which I will still ask, but beautifully said that brands should not pause, they should connect, but to create a larger message of hope and positivity. At this point, let me bring in Sundar. Sundar, you heard the 2 movie stars in brand endorsers, you heard 3 brand leaders. Now you represent, I know you work in the brand side, the media side, agency side, IP side, CEO of IPL. Bring the sports endorsers perspective. If there's no IPL, what happens? At least for the time being. So more money, there's no money that was spent in IPL. Will more money come to celebrities? Give us a perspective.
See, thanks Anurag, and people who've spoken before me have sort of summarized the gist of what the real issues are when it comes to staying with the topic of what is the post-COVID scenario going to look like for the celeb endorsement space. I'm just going to throw a bit of context to it in terms of size of the landscape and the opportunity that we're staring at. Give or take, I think about 75% of all endorsements in India is still with the film stars and the movie star space. Sport occupies about 20%, give or take. And that's a small number, but there are values attached to those sports because they are not performers every day in terms of release, but they are performers on the field. And I can tell you with the two stars here, and ask any of the sportsmen, the only thing that they want to go back to now is in front of a camera or take the playing field, face a ball that is coming to them at 150 Ks or get to the nets. I think that's all they want to do. I think the endorsement space is great, but at this point in time, they want to get back to their craft. They want to get back to what they love doing and the reason why they started doing what they're doing. Within the context of the endorsement sphere itself, I think if you look at from the brand side, categories such as personal care, hygiene, food and beverage will typically contribute about 30 to 35% of the total endorsements today. So just 3 or 4 categories will contribute a substantive amount of that. So how the dynamics are going to impact set of categories vis-a-vis another set of categories like a telecom or the startups or the Dream 11s or the tech companies is an entire dynamic altogether. So I don't think there is a single lens with which you can look at how this celeb space is going to evolve from it is going to be black or white. I think there is a sea change that will happen in various facets of the industry, pretty much like how it happens in any other disruption, or when any other disruption is caused. Real estate, smartphone, auto, e-commerce are all new sectors, and they rely a lot on celebs, largely male celebs, whereas the personal care, jewelry, banking, a lot of it relies on female celebs. And how are the dynamics for that going to change? Within this endorsement space, sport, as I said, is about 20%, give or take. And within that, I can count it at about roughly 350 endorsements happen in sports in a year, give or take. And that's a small number. It's 350. I'm not talking about the digital endorsements that these guys do, but the large mass endorsement space that we're talking about is no more than 300 to 350, of which cricket occupies probably about 80% of it. So that's a sizable number in terms of composition that you look at. And of that, 50 to 60% comes from 2 or 3 cricketers. You take a Virat, you take an MS, you take a Rohit, and probably Sachin in certain set of categories. That is the largest pie. In non-cricket space, I think there is a lot of female endorsement. That's a very, very encouraging sign. How are these dynamics going to change? There's an Olympic year coming up, which was scheduled to be this year, it will be moved to next year. What happens to the endorsement space in those areas is going to be very, very, very interesting to watch. The overall scenario, from my view, will remain more or less the same, but the composition and mix will change. And there was enough relevance about what Taapsee spoke about, the digital getting more preeminence. I think that will happen, and that is bound to happen. But if you segregate it from 2 standpoints, the user and the used, in a manner of speaking, which is the brand side and the celeb themselves side, I'm just going to run through 2 or 3 key points from each of it for elaboration later, probably. From a brand side, I think the category mix will change. F&B, personal care, and those set of categories which rely largely on celebs will continue to remain the same. I think that will not change dramatically. But the casual usage of celebs will go down. Consumer promo led and topical led, and all of that will go down pretty steeply. And I think that's a change that we should expect. The tonality, I think Boman stressed it right at the top. The creative challenge and the tonality, if you put it at the top level, both Boman and Swarnim spoke about it. The tonality will lend itself in the short to medium term towards more serious, credible persona, because you want to establish the fact that if Amitabh Bachchan is using this, I think it's got more credence than Anurag Batra using it, so to speak. So if we
definitely for a shampoo, though I did use a L'Oreal in the morning, and that's an honest thing. But
I think
Pankaj, that is not working out well.
No, it's
okay. Let's go. Let's go.
Pankaj talked about expanding the market, creating the market demand. So
the persona will be in demand. The serious, credible persona in the short to medium term will be a little more sought after, and that side of personalities will probably come to the fore more evocatively in the short to medium term. As I said, casual usage of celebs will be a casualty. I think that will go down dramatically because of the economy. Till consumption comes back, I don't think that is going to be in the radar for them. The largest impact will probably be on startups. I think a lot of startups started to use a bit of celeb to push the awareness and gain rapid awareness to a purpose and cause. I think that will change. I'm not saying they will stop using it, but I think there will be newer models that will evolve. From a standpoint of what those models are, I will talk about it from the celeb side. From the celeb side, I think there will be a move from the fixed time, fixed fee model to a slightly more blended model, which will include digital, which will include appearance, which will include endorsement, which will include equity, which may include partnership. I think a blended model of endorsement will take place. So we need to segregate what is a pure play endorsement, what is more an ambassadorial role. I think both of it will start to change. That may not happen in the FMCG kind of categories because that's not an equity play, but I think the startup category, the blended model will start to emerge. There will be substantive amount of digital contribution. Some of the cricketers or sports stars themselves earn about 25 to 30% of their total endorsement revenue only from digital platforms. And I think that will probably accelerate to a lot more wider spectrum of the celeb space. There will be newer personality that is being seen, whether it is people cooking or sweeping or swapping or giving serious messages outside of the ginning videos that sort of populated the digital media in the early phase of COVID. Newer personality sides of these celebs have emerged. And celebs have either cultivated it consciously or accidentally shown a side of theirs, which was never seen as that belonging to the personality. I think that will be picked up by smart marketeers and smart creative people to amplify and accelerate. So if there is time, people can still cultivate that persona of theirs or be talkative about that persona of theirs. Celebs themselves, last 2 points, Manish, celebs themselves will need to get a little more serious about their brand and personality. One, I don't think they can live with deal maker agents. I think they will need slightly a better understanding of the landscape and slightly more mature approach to that, whether it's a short-term engagement or enlisting them as a part of their rostered set of professionals around them. I think that will be important, and that's going to be very critical for differentiating celebs. Influencers will play a substantive role because they will probably mop up a lot more of the low entry, which I think Satayaki spoke about, and I think infinite number of Satyakis are present there wanting a influencer strategy rather than a celeb strategy. I think from an overall standpoint, it is going to be more or less similar. The mix and the blendedness of it is going to change. And I think we are going to see an exciting phase for the next 18 to 24 months in how this space shapes up.
Anurag, if I may just, Sundar, thanks for bringing in logic and maths back to this conversation. Thank you for that. I'm going to quickly move on because we're running really, really short of time to go on to the real discussion, the heated one, if at all. So I'm going to ask Brian. I'm going to ask Brian quickly. Brian, if you could update us with what you think happens on ground, and this one I mean.
And Brian, what happens to the Gillette portfolio? The Gillette stock will come down if you don't change. And Swarnim, same for you. But
okay, so now I know we're struggling for time, and one of the advantages of speaking last is that there is nothing left to say after 6 eminent panelists have said their piece. So I will keep it short for many reasons. Very quickly, we are at the very nucleus of the problem. We specialize in aggregating people and communities for a common purpose. And in this day and age of social distancing, we are in a very unenviable place, so to speak. And so it is actually beyond just so to speak. Having said that, I think we are social animals by nature, by DNA. And I do believe, like a few of the other co-panelists have said in the past, that this will change. Okay, I promise not to use the adjectives that Boman said we shouldn't use, also because I don't believe in it. We're facing a circumstance at the moment. We have to adapt, obviously, to the circumstance, given who we are and what we do. But I do believe that things will go back to normal. Of course, there'll be a time, in-between time before we reach that stage. We have to be strong and we have to be adaptable. Obviously, survival, sustainability are the words being used all around. In the business we are in, I think, again, Taapsee mentioned it, digital is playing a larger and larger role in our lives, and certainly in the lives that we lead in the experiential space. It's playing a larger role. We did something a couple of days ago, Sunday actually, I for India. And it was purely digital, as those of you who saw it would agree. The point being, the effectiveness was there. It was a fundraiser. Obviously, because of the situation, people's sentiments are veering toward that, but it served its purpose. Digital will play a larger role. I firmly believe that it will not replace the business we are in. It will only enhance the business we are in and the purpose we drive, towards. So I'm quite clear that things will change. It's a question of time. It's a question of adapting to the challenges we face at the moment. Coming very quickly to the area that we spoke about endorsements, about celebrities, that's not going to change. If at all, it will increase. But as Sundar very rightly pointed out, and Swarnim, it's going to be how relative is this endorsement to the purpose even more now. So I think people are hungry not just to see and hear a celebrity speak. They are hungry about what he or she is speaking about, and as importantly, getting to know the person behind that personality and what he or she thinks. So very quickly, I think things are going to go back to normal. We are hoping sooner than later. No one knows when, but I am an eternal optimist. It's always half full. It's never half empty.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Anurag, shall we open the panel then?
Yes, Manish, why don't you go with the first question and then I'll join you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Anurag, for this one. Thank you, Brian, and thank you everybody else for your opening comments. Very interesting. At one point in time, we saw life, and at the other, very, very factual, logical discussion out there. Let me ask a very simple question. How do you guys, and this one is open to everybody, whoever wants to pick this up. But now that we'll see, at least in short term, all celebs a little lesser, be it films, sports, everything going down. Will the celebs also go extinct in the brand world for now? Or do we see them even more sought after as their screen presence becomes rarer? So if absence makes the heart grow fonder, are we going to have, in fact, an increase in need of celebs endorsing those same products which will come to shelf immediately after post lockdown? Anybody who wants to take this up, from the celebrity side or the brand management side? I think Sundar is raising a hand.
I think it will definitely go up for two reasons. One, for a fact that you need certainly rapid awareness to be built up.
Sorry, Sundar, but just here is also an audience poll. All of you guys can answer this question. Those who were not on the panel, but otherwise, please go ahead, answer these questions. We'll compile and see some interesting results later. Sorry, Sundar, for interjecting. Go on.
I think it will be in the short term. There will be a demand for celebs, and maybe the top end of the celebs will be more sought after. But I think the fact is, brands have been off air for a matter of speaking for the last 2 to 3 months at least. And suddenly you don't want to fade out of the consumer memory, and you want to stay relevant. And for you to do that, there's no better way than using Virat Kohli or a Taapsee or a Boman or a Shahrukh or a Salman or a Rohit. So I think that will be important in the short
term. And may I pose the same question to Taapsee? Taapsee, what do you think? Immediately.
It's a catch-22 situation, if you ask me. We are not that visible in our usual medium. So yes, the audience is hungry to see what the celeb is going to say or do. But at the same time, all celebs, I don't know how well everybody knows how to milk how Brian said, the person behind the personality, because that's what's going to sell on digital platform. Your character is not going to sell whatever you've been on the television or in films. How many of you can really, really milk out that person behind that personality and sell it out for the audience to consume? Because you might just not know how to get their attention during this time. So it is a catch-22 both sides. Audience wants to see, but as a celebrity, do you have enough or sensible stuff to put out for them to consume? Because they have a lot of options actually to look out for. So you should be having something to get their attention well enough. So I think that way, as a celebrity, it's a catch-22 from both the sides.
I guess so divided is the audience. If you see the poll results, they are fairly divided. A little more on the negative side, but they are fairly divided. At this moment, I also want to ask Boman, an opposite of that question. If you were a brand manager, would you hire a celebrity at this time, just post-lockout? If you were a brand manager, will you do that?
I tell you, apart from, I agree with what Taapsee is saying, but apart from everything else, it's not, you'd like to know a little more about the celebrity. I think unpeel that onion, as I keep saying, it'll be very interesting to see another side. People are always interested in the private life of celebrities. So maybe that would be a route to go. But I say this, that I think that the day of pointing at a pack is over, in my opinion. I think that is now is passe over. It should have ended long time ago. Maaf kijiyega. But having said that, I still feel that another big deciding factor and a tipping factor would be how good is the ad itself? How wonderful. You must see the ad. There was a time when people used to come to run to see an ad. And they used to come and they used to act out the ad for us. What happened to that? So that will make a big difference in getting eyeballs. The celebrity was a quick fix, and they did a great job, and they still will continue to do a great job because they are the ones that people are listening to now in the times of COVID, frankly speaking. These are the people that people are actually saying, you know, he's saying that, said it with so much heart. Such a nice way of putting it. Fantastic. Now they'll continue to listen to them. But it's what you make them say in what mahal. I think the creativity, and I insist on this, the creativity will have to be on another level. That's all.
Yes.
And you know, and Manish, there I add that if every celebrity starts to show their authentic side, after some point there will be fatigue on that also.
Exactly.
You know, the script, the creativity, the brand fit, and how you, and sometimes frugality brings more creativity.
100%.
You have lots of budgets, you know, you don't tend to think creatively. But Pankaj wants to make a point. Pankaj?
Yeah. No, so I agree with with the panelists that creativity and content, will be the crucial elements as the celebrity or non-celebrity advertising starts to roll back. First, yes, we need familiarity, and we really don't want to feed on to this new normal, what we had called, and only talk about a new context. Somewhere we need to make a shift. People want to feel normal. So the life, what we will project, whether it's a Bollywood, whether it's a cricket, whether it's advertising, should get over-indexed on what is getting normal. Yes, creativity will undergo disruption. Just to give an example, even like when people will be wearing masks, so obviously nobody is applying a lip color, but eyes becomes important. So we are thinking, how can we attack eyes? Because eyes are the only thing which are seen. So in each and every category, in every business, there is a need to innovate and bring the creativity, the best side of the creativity to
Got it.
to open.
Got it, Pankaj. Pankaj, I'm going here to Swarnim and to Satayaki, one after the other. I'm putting the question on to you. If you were a celebrity, how would you make yourself relevant to the brand endorsement world in particular, through the consumer or otherwise? So Swarnim, your thought, if you were a celebrity, so let's say if you were like Taapsee, a well-known celebrity, or like Boman, somebody who has a great presence, what would you do to keep yourself relevant to the consumer and through the brand? And I'm coming straight to Satayaki after that.
Well, I think there is this aspect of ads having disappeared from television and no IPL happening. But the biggest thing which has gone up tremendously is screen time, whether it's digital platforms or it's even television. All the data we have across countries is people are watching a lot more. So as a celebrity, the biggest medium I have is the digital platform. These days, social media accounts run into tens of millions for big celebrities and even hundreds of millions. And as a celebrity, the one thing that I would do is not be quiet because like I said, I have an audience of millions on digital anyway. I don't need to have a brand run an ad on TV. Right. So I would put out my perspective, whether it is to entertain, whether it is to reassure or clarify in any way that people, whatever content people are willing to consume at this point. And if I were a brand, I would definitely use this as well and tie up in a way which again puts it out to this audience of hundreds of millions, a message relevant for the time. So I think, yes, brands are off TV, etc. and this advertising has gone down, but we live in an age where in many countries, actually, you have a bigger audience on digital than on television. And that is always available. And I would utilize that heavily right now when people are watching more of it.
I'm continuing with that question to Satayaki, as I promised. Satayaki, if you were a celeb, what would you do to stay relevant and to keep... you're on mute, Satayaki. You're on mute.
I'm saying Manish is getting all wrong. And the question should have gone to Boman and Taapsee. And the other question should have come to us. But, if you want to make us the celebrity, it doesn't work. But I am with both of my co-panelists, Swarnim and Boman. Number one, I think the consumption will go up in OTT. It has already gone up. There's absolutely no way of running away from that. So if I was a celebrity, I would try to have a few exposure, etc. in the OTT platform, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever it is. If whatever you can think of, I should be in a relevant platform to remain a celebrity. I'm not talking about megastars. I'm not talking about Virat Kohli and the Khans and the Kapoors and stuff like that. But if you are not Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and if you're not Deepika Padukone and the Kapoors, etc., like that, then I think you need relevance, and OTT platform will give you relevance. Number two, what Swarnim said, that I would be putting out my real self or the things that I am famous for on social media, because I think social media is super relevant when people are staying at home. And in future also, there will be social distancing. COVID is not going to go away. Life will come back to normal, and we will learn to live with COVID as another ailment, I think. And hence, a few things will change. Now, coming back to, I think, Pankaj's point, where he said he's looking at, they're looking at eyes. I think from a fabric and apparel business guy, now I'm looking at masks, because I think the masks could be the new pocket square, and the masks could be the new tie, and people may match, and the 30 rupee masks will remain for mass consumption. But as we move along, there'll be fashionable masks. You know, you'll match your dress with the mask. When you go to an event, then brand will organize, because there'll be a lot of people. When will you go back to Eden Gardens to watch a match or Wankhede? And when will you go back to an event? And how will you go back? You will learn new ways of going back, and there'll be a shift. So if I'm a celebrity, I'll be very strong on social media. I will be on OTT platforms. I'll try to do this because I'll believe that most brands will continue with their celebrity agreements and the celebrity endorsement, but signing a new star for a new campaign, the casual signing is going to go down.
Very interesting, actually. Satayaki, you talked about masks, and this is a whole lot of new innovation and innovative thought coming in. Before I give it back to Anurag, just one quick question to Brian. Brian, now that the real events or the congregations are under stress, and they will be for a while, I'm sure you agree, do the e-events take over for the celebrities, given that 50% of those stage shows, any which we had some celebrity or the other? Because that's a large part as well. We've been only talking endorsement, but the other side is the appearance market, which is probably grounded and lesser, but very, very important. So what happens there?
Okay, so before I come to the impact on, or what I think the impact on talent will be, allow me to just dwell for a moment on the business we're in, and the fact that digital is going to play a larger part, like I ceded to happily a little earlier in my comments. Digital will play a larger part, but what are we in the business of? We're in the business of creating experiences with finite purpose. And if you look at finite purpose, I think the regular ingredients will continue to play a part, but the balance of how much importance each of these ingredients plays. Now, that could be what we see, that could be what we hear, that could be how we treat what we see and hear. And obviously that includes talent among a whole load of other production values. So I do believe that the basics don't change. I believe the balance between the inputs toward objectivity will change. Talking about balance between the inputs towards objectivity, talent plays a huge part. Talent in all the other avatars, but especially talent that manifests itself in people, which is why I go back to what the point I made earlier. And Taapsee actually, agreed, as I'm sure did a couple of others, that it's not just, are we talking about a transaction here, or are we talking about meeting an end? And I think it's about meeting an end. So it's not about transactions. Transactions are a consequence. So I do believe, to answer your question very directly, that talent will continue to play a large role. In fact, I'd like to believe they'll play a larger role in the interim, because it's not going to be as easy to aggregate audiences to listen to the brand communication. Right. And that is the finite purpose of using talent or personal talent in what we do. I do believe that they will play a larger role, but I must add, at the cost of repetition, I must add that it'll go way beyond conventional popularity. It must be the person behind the personality. There must be resonance between who the talent is and what they're standing for in that particular campaign. So I'm an optimist, blame it on that. But I think there's a bit of rationale in my thinking.
Absolutely, Brian. I get that. But what I'm getting to, and very, very particularly at that, is anything that needs to be seen needs a medium. Now, events were a medium of appearances. Those are going to go down in a while. I mean, for a while, and that's a given. That's also right.
I agree.
What happens then? What fills up that equity time, whatever you call it? So there is no event happening.
Okay.
Now, me as a celebrity, especially a BC level, if I may say, not exactly the Khans and the Kapoors that you're talking about, goes to a lot of them. I am a Mandir Abedi. I do compare, let's say, 8 functions in a month.
Right.
What do I do, and how do I stay relevant, and what do I there? Is it going to happen, or is it going to go down for me?
So, like I said, the balance. Good question. The balance is going to be toward digital at this point in time, embracing the larger principles of creating experiences, which is the business we're in conventionally. So we've done 2 events in the recent past, one within the Denso Aegis Network group, where we had 30 countries, representatives from 30 countries come together in an event. It was driven out of Stockholm, where they actually had a stage built, where they actually had a host for the evening, a Mandira Bedi in that sense, host the evening. They actually had performances in another country. It was all seamlessly put together. So the medium of distribution, you're right, is shifting towards digital in the interim. The conventional on-ground experiences, for very obvious and evident reasons, will take a while before it comes back, to normalcy as we understand normalcy. But allow me to again reiterate, it will come back because we are social animals.
100%.
So at the moment, it is digital that is ruling or being the medium of experiential or communication. It will all it will all come back to normalcy.
We do look forward to events from you. Anurag, handing over back.
So I just want to add one point. If you look at China, in China, post opening up, the exhibitions are back. But what has happened is they've created space for people to sit. Instead of in a row, 6 people sitting, 2 people are sitting. So they've taken distancing measures at physical events. So the physical events are back, but they're being done keeping the social distancing norm. So at some stage in India, the physical events will be back and will keep the social distancing norms in play. Everyone will have a mask, there'll be sanitizer. So that will also happen. But my question to Boman and Taapsee, Boman, I want to ask you, as they say, when the fishermen are not fishing, they're sharpening their nets. What is Boman Irani doing to make sure he stays relevant as an actor first, second as a celebrity endorser? The same question to Taapsee. What are you doing to stay relevant as an actor, because there's no production happening? And what are you doing in these times to up your presence beyond digital? Boman and Taapsee.
You go first.
As an actor, I'd say, we can't be on set right now. So all I can do right now is listen to the scripts and ideas and just have a hypothetical plan of a certain sort, put ahead, like with my team, discuss what kind of films and watch those kind of films. And because, I think the kind of OTT content the audience has been exposed to during this lockdown, when they're going to step out, and if they would want to spend that 500 rupees to go into theater and watch, they would want their time to be really worth it, because they've been forced to watch some really good content from all across the world right now. So if you have to get them into theater and make them spend those precious 500 bucks that they've been saving for this entire lockdown, you need to be now really pulling your socks. So I guess that's where the actor in me is. That's what the actor in me is working on, to make sure the content I'm going to put out after this is going to be at par with what they've been experiencing or even above. I'll try it for that. As a brand endorser, I've always tried to give a very real presence on my social media and wherever I am available in person or now on these webinars. I try to be there as myself, so people know the person behind the personality. And that's why I feel like, I have this connect with my audience as a person who's from probably a regular middle class background, who would connect with them. These are the kind of characters I represent. This is the kind of person I am in real, and I make sure that comes across through my social media. So when I come across and say that, okay, this is the product I'm using, they genuinely believe, because I am very conscious of the kind of products I pick up and endorse, because I should be using those. So my audience becomes more confident of picking up that product. So I'm making sure that real presence is still there.
Give us an example of what you did in 45 days. Give us an example
of what I did as a real person.
As in, what did you do to engage with your audience during this?
Okay, I'll give you an example. So I started this series from the third day of the lockdown, where I started putting out those real life stories behind certain pictures that were there in my archive collection. So I started pulling out stories from like 7-10 years back, pictures from 7-10 years back. And I started putting out the real stories behind those pictures, which were from my personal life mostly, not the professional life. When was this picture clicked? What was really happening during that time this picture was clicked? So there's a very real, believable story which can happen to anyone else. So it makes them feel I'm as much a normal, regular person as them. So that's the way I have been approaching my celebrity status till now, and I've continued doing that during the lockdown with these archive posts that I've been posting regularly.
Taapsee, may I ask a quick side question, Anurag, taking with Taapsee. Taapsee, Thappad, for example, now is on OTT. Did you notice any more engagement from the audience now than you did ever?
Yes, I did. I have a certain theory behind it, if you allow me to tell you. The Thappad was in theaters for, say, 2 weeks. And It's not a film that opens up in a grand way. We opened a little above 3.5 or something. We opened around that. We ended up having a very stable run in the second weekday, which is a mark of a film that has a word of mouth, a good word of mouth. So after second week, we were taken off the theater because of Corona. And our audience is supposedly the educated A-center audience who is more aware about Corona, who was not stepping into theater and watching it. Still having the stable run was giving us an indication this film is going to go on for a total of 6 weeks. We could have ran for 3 to 4 weeks more if Corona wouldn't have happened. Now, this audience is the one who sits back and plans and goes to theater after watching a review. So this audience has now read enough about the film when it had released, because a lot was spoken around it. So now when it has come on OTT, they are giving it a chance. And this is the audience who writes more on OTT, unlike a lot of others who, regular audience who will go and watch theater. Everybody doesn't have that kind of a social media presence. So the people who write on social media a lot are the ones who are watching it now. So that's why you see almost equal or more reaction to the film now when it has released on OTT.
Beautiful.
Got it. I just want to know from the limited perspective of, is the connection with audiences happening better for the brands to know that, hey, you know what, the relevance may not be wider, but maybe it is deeper. That's where I was coming from. Anurag.
It is.
And on the media panel, I have our CEO of our communities business, Mr. Bhuvnesh Khanna. So he watched it on Sunday. Our CEO of our Engage watched it 3-4 days back on OTT. So what Taapsee is saying is a reality. Boman, what are you doing to stay relevant? I mean, you are a superstar. You don't have to try too hard. But
no, I'll tell you something that I've been working on for now 7 years. Actually, I've started teaching. And I truly believe that we are going to be in a big.
And I am one of the students. I am one of the students.
The thing is that I truly believe that, ever since the OTT platform has come into being and becoming this bigger giant that it is, and I don't know of many A-listers, in Netflix films and things like that, but that's what's being consumed big time and voraciously by a viewer. So this word is being bandied around content driven. So content driven, what does it actually mean? All films are supposed to be content driven, even if they are pot boilers. But at the end of the day, what content driven actually means is what you can engage audiences for more than 10 minutes. Because if they have the option, they're going to go to the next thumbnail. It's not that they have to get out of one theater and go into another multiplex theater. So the thing was, I started learning as a student. I go to New York. I went to New York this last September. I was supposed to be here now as we speak. And I attend classes. And I've become a student all over again. And for the last 7 years, in fact, one of my gurus turned out to be, he won an Oscar along the way. So I was very lucky to be a student of that guru, who was like I have a very personal guru-shishya relationship with him. So now I started a group called Spiral Bound. And every morning for 2 hours, I teach. And I don't just teach to pass time as a retiree. I teach so that we spread the word of not just content, but the science of writing screenplays. So we may have great ideas and they may be very great, great as what we call content, but we don't have the structure to hold an audience for 2 hours. And that is something that I've been doing. I've done about 40 sessions, 40 classes now. And they're getting stronger and stronger by the day. And I think it's very, very important for a person who can.
And these are free classes.
Sorry?
These are free classes.
They are free classes for writers. And there are more and more people who've been writing for 10, 12 years who are now attending and very, very honestly tell me, we never thought of theme when we wrote. We just told the story. We never thought of 3-act structure. We just told the story. I said, that's great. But now we understand the science and understand that it has to be spread all over so that the quality of our films improve. And sometimes great ideas that come out, great ideas get destroyed because somehow the audience was lost. You know why? Because there was no structure. And that's something that I'm trying to propagate very, very hard for a long, long time now. And I think it's gaining a little bit of momentum. So that's what I've been doing since morning. Then in the afternoon, I have a photography session. We do a 2-hour photography session with the great Raghu Rai, presiding also. I present it too. And then in the evening, I do a couple of hours of just connecting with people who need a little bit of a moral boost, a little bit of what Brian says, be positive. You know, it's so important. And I think there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of psychosis that's going around the place. And if someone can put a smile on your face, and I do believe my mom always tells me, you've got the ability to put a smile on people's face. That's what I do in the evenings every day. That's how I spend my time.
Beautiful, Boman. I want to give a hypothetical situation to actually, all the marketers on the panel. You know, Satayaki talked of B2B. Now the financial services sector and the banking sector has seen whether you look at the amount of loans being dispersed, the financial activity, whether you look at the stock prices of banking. If you were the CMO of a banking brand, you were the CMO of a financial services banking brand, would you use celebrity? Is it possible to use a celebrity and create the demand?
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go because I identify my wife is the CMO of a very large financial firm, CDO and CMO. So she is doing conference in the other room. And I, of course, have seen her more than I've seen her in the last 22 years, in the last 40 days. So a banking firm, 2 pieces. I think a bank may. NBFC and others, I doubt. That's the real assessment, because NBFCs, etc., I don't want to get into the sub stories, are under tremendous pressure. Nobody is paying back anything. People are not understanding that if you don't pay 3 EMIs, then actually 6 EMIs come at the end. NPA's definition, they got some help, but otherwise NPA definitions will change. I think cash flow is a big problem. I think working capital is a big problem. Staying afloat is important at this point in time. New engagements from NBFC and non-banking, I doubt. Banking, maybe something because savings banks are working, but savings banks only give out money. Banks earn money when they give loan, when credit card people use, etc. And like Pankaj said, 70% non-discretionary income spending, if it does not happen, economy never comes back. Banks also don't work. So financial services, I doubt. We also in Aditya Birla have a very big financial services business.
I'm aware.
And all of you know the CMO there.
You have 2 Ajays there.
Long time friend of us. Yeah, 2 Ajays there. Yeah. So I will not take Ajay Kakkar's line, but my wife is Tata Capital CMO and CDO. So I know it's not going to be easy for any one of them.
So Swarnim and Pankaj, and again Satayaki, how much would marketing budget shrink, and will celebrity endorsement budgets also shrink? I want a very real answer. Of course, it depends on how the next 30, 60 days pan out, but as you see it today.
Well, let me take that first. It really depends on the nature of the company, because you have companies of different scales. There are big companies which have large cash reserves and can afford, in a way, to support their marketing spends, even at present times when sales have really been curtailed because of lockdowns, etc. And on the other spectrum, you will come to startups who will follow a very, very strong strategy of cash conservation, and everyone in the middle of that spectrum. So yes, our brands doing fresh endorsements right now, very few, but in big companies, even now. So I'll give you an example from Unilever. We've just signed on Salman for Lifebuoy, because that's perhaps a brand that is very relevant right now, and we see the value in having a megastar like him advertising for Lifebuoy. It's now on air. So even in this situation, there are big brands which are going ahead. Of course, that's not valid for everyone. If you are in an industry which is very negatively affected, you will conserve. But the moment it opens up, you will want to come back strongly, as many of the other panelists have said. And if you're a smaller company, the cash flow is a much tighter situation for you. Then you would completely go off air and conserve all marketing budgets, and that could even go down to zero. And at least, I would say, a 50 to 60% cut at this point of time, because you're not getting any revenues. So it really depends on the scale and the kind of business you're in, the response of your company to how much you're advertising and whether you're doing celebrities.
So you're saying the budgets will be cut?
In general, yes, certainly.
And is the number you have?
I can't give you a fixed number, because it really depends, like I said, on what scale of your company, what is the scale of your company, and what is the business you're in.
Pankaj?
Yeah. Before you ask Pankaj, just wanted to introduce that the media panel is almost here. All of them are here. Just wanted to give them a warm
welcome. So after Pankaj,
them later.
I think we'll introduce them and bring them in.
Yeah. Go on, please, Pankaj.
Yeah, so I think definitely there will be a cut in media spends, okay, because we are not realizing the same top line what we had thought at the beginning of the year. So practically, yes, there will be budget cut, but whether the budget cut will applies to celebrities or influencers, I don't think so. There could be situations, because now you are activating new categories and you might need new influencers or a celebrity to come on board to activate that category. And you also know that India is not uniform across. India is divided today between the red, orange and green. So you might have to pick up one particular state or market to deploy your marketing program. And for that, you might need a local face. So hence, yes, the media budget will be down. But in terms of content, in terms of celebrity, I don't think there might be an increase on the other side.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful perspective. Sundar, your view?
I think there will be a substantive slash that will happen in the budgets. But if there is any hope of sort of arresting that, you need the IPL to happen. If the IPL happens, I think you will find the monies in the market suddenly come up and come back. And I think that's going to be the bellwether of sorts. As if there is nothing that brings close to 2,000, 3,000 crores of revenue in a manner of 6 to 8 weeks, than an event like the IPL does. So I think let's all hope the situation improves, and if there is a cricket event like that, then consumption will come back, the money will come back to a certain degree, or at least get prioritized to a certain degree, which can catalyze the consumption thereof.
On a lighter note, Sundar, first love always remains, right? IPL. That's how it is.
You deliver a baby.
Boman and Taapsee, I want to ask you a quick question and a quick answer. So I want to give you an example. Blue Star had a new campaign breaking the refrigeration company, the air conditioning company. They have a B2B and a B2C business. They have Virat Kohli as their celebrity endorser. And they had a Virat Kohli campaign for IPL. And where there were very Virat Kohli lookalikes and they were close to each other. Now they have asked the creative agency and Virat to do something which is more social distancing oriented. So are your brands asking you to repurpose some of the content you did before COVID? Boman first and then Taapsee. Did you do some content which is being repurposed because of a new normal? I know you don't like the word new normal, but the new abnormal. Let's say the new abnormal.
Yeah, I'm okay with it just for a short period of time. I refuse to accept that. I refuse to accept that this is going to be the new normal. There will be a kind of a leftover, maybe in the coming year, that there will be some, sanitizers all over the place, maybe masks in certain situations. But apart from that, but to answer your question in a short answer, yeah, why not?
But have you been asked, was
No,
there a
not
commercial
yet.
you did? And
Not
then you
yet.
have,
Yeah,
Not
same
yet.
here. Not as yet, but it will be interesting to see how they can innovatively do that, because it can turn out to be a very interesting campaign if they're able to
If it's interesting,
creatively,
correct.
yeah, change. Yeah, why not? Like, give it a thought.
It shouldn't be like another campaign that was kind of copying,
and Brian, your input on that?
I agree with Taapsee completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Fantastic. So it's an opportunity. If it's provided, it's an opportunity to shine, and it's an opportunity to innovate. At this point, let's get the media panel. Tanvi and Shakun, who do we get first?
Anurag, we need to do a POV first, and then we get the media in. That's the.
So Manish, yes.
So before we do that, I just wanted to kind of just ask a very simple question. I picked it up in one of the other webinars that I was doing, and somebody said, and this was a real estate icon, and he said, the problem is that for the consumer, whatever you do, it's going to be life over lifestyle. And if that is the case, and I'm asking this specifically to Swarnim, across the countries, is that the phenomenon going to be? And if therefore that's the case, then should celebrities and brands in the life space rather than lifestyle space concentrate on celebrities and other wait for a while, like Satayaki said? Should we do that?
Let me give you an interesting perspective. I work a lot in China, and perhaps in the world at this point, that is the one country that has come into the post-COVID phase, right? It dramatically declined, and now it's almost non-existent. And I saw my colleagues, etc., being locked in way before we were locked in. And now we are in that situation, and they are out of it. So I see their lives now. What's happening in that market is that lifestyle has come back in the biggest way possible. It has exploded. Some marketeers call it the lipstick effect, which is, after you've been up shit creek for a long time, you want to indulge yourself a lot. And that's actually happening. And as we see, people don't want to talk about hygiene and germs and social distancing and masks. None of this. They want the best creams, long relaxing baths. They want to go out. This last weekend has been a big travel weekend in China, where everyone has been traveling like the blazes, the Labor Day week. So it's very hard to imagine right now when we are locked down that lifestyle could be important, but it's fascinating how quickly it comes back, because human beings at the end of the day want to take care of themselves. So if we think that everything is going to be masks and social distancing and staying indoors, that can change like this. And I've seen it personally in China.
Yeah.
So brands would be, they would be risking stuff if they pivot so much that, they're not able to come back fast enough.
Should anticipate some revenge shopping.
Or become inauthentic, because if you have nothing to do with the life-saving aspect, don't force foot your way over there.
And on a lighter note, you saw what happened in Delhi and Bombay at the liquor shops.
Yes. So that's lifestyle for sure.
Just to come back, Satayaki here.
Yeah, sir.
On the lifestyle thing that Swarnim talked about, China, we do a lot of our export business. So we have people based out of China, from Birla Textiles. And it's really come back. And like I'm saying, lifestyle will come back. He talked about the lipstick effect. I agree with that. Just to give you an example closer to home, our linen outlets started opening in the last 2-3 days in the green zones in India. Let's say Kerala, small towns of Kerala, where individual shops are there. It's not in a mall, it's in a residential. There are 10 reasons, 10 ways you cross to open a non-essential fabric and apparel store, right? Yeah. So we've been able to open a few, 10, 12 across up-country Karnataka, Kerala. The sales are ranging between 20% to 70% of my daily average of that store.
Okay.
You imagine in the last 2 days, some stores are hitting 70% of the daily average pre-COVID. On an average, the 10-store average is 35%. Now, it's very fast. I think lifestyle is going to come back. And I don't think it will be life over lifestyle. It will be life with lifestyle. Lifestyle will change.
Okay.
You'll have to adapt to that. New models will come out, but lifestyle will remain.
Wonderful. Thank you, Satayaki. I'm coming back right at you. and for you, for all of you. Can somebody please allow me to enable screen sharing so that we show the presentation and the POV that we put together, even as we get that allowance. Yeah, there we do. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is what could be called somewhat learned and logical interpretation of what we believe could happen. This is an Entourage, which is a celebrity and entertainment company of Alchemist. It's POV. It comes with all kinds of disclaimers because it's finally only a forecast of what is going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months. Interesting trends out there for us to see, enjoy, and probably debate a little later. Quickly, so 11 points out there. The first one, big fat celeb brand wedding to be strained in the short term. I think we all discussed that could be the case given the brand budgets going down. The new 2020 rule, and not IPL 1, is that the endorsement market, earlier increasing by about 20%, actually 19% odd in value each year, is now expected to increase by 5% in number of deals, that is the volume, but decrease by about 20% in value for the rest of the year, rest of the calendar year. On the appearance market, which we haven't discussed too much, but it's about 40% of the total star revenue from brands, the brand congregations will reduce in the first 2 quarters to minimal, leading to very, very minimal, leading to lower celeb interface. Celeb appearance market, therefore, will be down by about 70% than the previous year in the next 6 months. E-appearance would be the saving grace, but would be far lesser in volumes and value. Brian, this was in particular probably something that you can have a look at. Top reasons contributing to the other factors have been listed into 3. Value consciousness in brands. Well, there'll be low risk taking ability. There'll be cut in marketing spends, as Pankaj said. Need for more bang for the buck, increased accountability, and faster copy fatigue due to brands going digital. That will all lead to larger fall in the usage of A+ and A-level celebrities, and a quick gain for the next level celebrities, in particular the micro celebrities, if I may call them that. There will be a lack of face time, lower face value for most celebrities given postponements of films and minimal sports and stage events, bringing down their popularity and equity in the short term. A situation of who blinks first in the very, very short term. So what's going to happen is lots of transactions will happen in the short term because there's a change of perception in price value equation. A celebrity, because they're not actually hand to mouth, will be happy to hold on to their prices. At the same time, brands will not be willing to give the same pricing that they were earlier. Point 2, digitization of celeb use will fuel proliferation of the industry. As we said, the people who have to worry most is the A+ variety of celebrities. There'll be smaller but sharper influence celebrities with shorter span of celeb life who will be in the trend. With Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc., brands will focus on creating relevant content. They'll create relevant content, and that will be used with celebrities who are open to give those favors on. Brands would take satellite ambassadors along with the brand ambassadors to take them on ground on digital. It's a very, very good time for the mid or the small level celebrity, and boom time for the micro influencer is our view at Alchemist. Point 3, celeb deals will now move for the first time ever in the history, results over perception. It'll be somewhat output-based pricing, just a starting of it. About 5% of the large endorsement deals will feature maybe a performance clause. The costing matrix would for the first time start changing from input-based to output-based. What happens finally? Celebrities and brands will become more open to barters, incentives, shares of revenue, and yes, the stakeholding part, which started about 5 years ago, in lieu of their equity and days, will become slightly more common. Point 4, reduced average and model deal terms. Actually, the term period is what we're talking about. The sign-up term for an endorsement, the model sign-up time right now is about 1 year. But the average retainership or relationship for a celebrity with a brand is about 1.5 years right now. That will go down to 10 months, which basically means actually casual, shorter relationships. They will be because of sharp increase in shorter, tactical, digital-only deals and sharp fall in long-term deals because of not knowing what is going to happen in the future. That will contribute to these early terminations in some few cases, and of course, shorter deals or extensions for the while. There will be, point number 5, more value in the new deals that happen. Celebs have to earn money probably harder in the short term, and a very short term, Deal volumes will increase, as we said, 5% odd. Actually, deal volumes increase in this period, but the value offered in each one of them, it could be days, it could be equity, will be a little more. Digital usage will further push the value, giving more social chatter. Those celebs who give more social chatter, allow more social chatter in their deals, will get better and give more value. Sellers will qualitatively go out of the way to sweeten and graduate tactical deals into strategic ones. Some will actually extend their deals. Some old deals, as I said, will get extended. Currency exchange will start charging from days to maximization. So right now, most celeb deals are about days, 8 hours, 2 hours of appearance, whatever it be. They will actually change to maximization or start changing at least. Point number 6, from larger than life celebrities to aspirational influencers will be the trend of the day. Influencer marketing to drastically increase and yield higher returns for brands. Brand collaborations with micro and nano influencers will give boom for them. Ads will now become more transactional and retailized for a while, and so will the role of a brand ambassador, who earlier was persuading for just telling a story, and now will actually be used for immediate transaction. Call karo will happen. Number 7, quick one. Actors' loss will be a producer's gain, with a lot of OTT stuff happening, with a lot of in-film and in-program content and brand. What will happen is, what actors will lose out in endorsement deal a little will be gained by producers till the time actors find this out and will start insisting in their producer deals on being remunerated fairly for those advents where they are expected to do something for the brand in film or in content. Number 8 is churn and roll. There will be a lot of existing brands that will move out of celebrities and actually newer ones walking in. So it's slightly the new normal in that sense. Celebrities will move in out of competitive brands like Amir Khan did with Pepsi and Coke. There will be more like that marriages happening, specifically in the FMCG zone. Number 9, endorsement movement away from being a bedroom and a boardroom decision. So far, whether you like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, a typical endorsement is about what I like or what my mother-in-law likes or what my boss likes. That's what happens. More and more research will be used now, because lesser onus will be taken by brand, because it is going to become a risky decision. So research is going to take over a little better, making it not so much a boardroom and a bedroom decision for celebrity advent. Number 10, rise of a new celeb, the OTT celeb. Now, some of those will be the same as earlier ones, but OTT celebs are going to become big for endorsements and appearances and influence. All three of them. And number 11, the quick shift. There will be an added pressure on the celeb economy overall, and therefore the celeb managers will have added performance pressure to show their value to the same celebrity. They cannot just be deal makers anymore. They have to bring in branded value to the celebrity. They have to earn their money stronger, better, and they will have added responsibilities. A quick chart, and that's the end of it, is this. We expect that in a very short term, the level A celebrity equity and therefore their ability to get money will go down. Level B will remain same. Level C goes up, and level D will again remain same. Some will go up, some will go down, etc. TV stars go up slightly, OTT stars go up hugely. Niche stars, which are non-film, non-sports stars, as somebody said earlier, will go up tremendously. Sports stars for a very short time go down because their face value is always anyway in question because of the